What if everything you thought you knew about reality, morality, and consciousness is just the tip of the iceberg? From mind-bending paradoxes to ideas that shaped civilizations, these 100 philosophy concepts will flip your worldview, challenge your assumptions, and make you question what it really means to be alive. 1. The allegory of the cave, Plato. Imagine spending your entire life chained inside a cave, staring at shadows on a wall, believing that's all there is. That's how Plato described most of humanity, trapped in illusion, mistaking perception for truth. The real world is outside the cave, but stepping into the light hurts. You resist it, you doubt it. But once you see reality, you can never unsee it. Today, this isn't just ancient philosophy, it's modern psychology, social media, and politics. We live surrounded by curated shadows, highlight reels, filtered truths, digital illusions. Plato's cave reminds us that truth is what's shown to us. It's what we dare to discover. Every time you question the system, challenge a belief, or unplug from the algorithm, you're walking out of that cave. 2. Cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am, René Descartes. Descartes stripped everything away, his senses, his beliefs, even reality itself, until only one thing remained undeniable, the act of thinking, I think therefore I am. In that single realization, modern consciousness was born. It's the moment humanity said, I exist because I'm aware. But here's the twist. In today's world of automation, algorithms, and artificial intelligence, what does it really mean to think? Are we still thinking or just reacting? Descartes' phrase challenges us to reclaim our mental autonomy, to stop letting others, influences, trends, or machines do the thinking for us. It's not just philosophy, it's the foundation of personal identity in an age trying to erase individuality. 3. The golden mean, Aristotle. Aristotle believed the good life isn't about extremes, it's about balance. Courage isn't recklessness, and kindness isn't weakness. The golden mean is the middle path, the point where virtue lives. Today, that wisdom feels radical. We live in a culture that glorifies excess, grind harder, feel stronger, win bigger. But Aristotle whispers, moderation isn't mediocrity, it's mastery. The strongest people are those who can hold equilibrium in a chaotic world. Whether it's work-life balance, emotional control, or moral judgment, the golden mean reminds us that peace isn't found in extremes, it's found in balance. 4. The will to power, Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche saw life as a constant struggle, not for survival, but for growth, creation, and transcendence. The will to power isn't about control over others, it's about conquering yourself. Every time you rise after failure, every time you turn pain into purpose, you're expressing that will. In a society obsessed with comfort, Nietzsche demands discomfort. He calls weakness a sin and struggle sacred. But beyond the bravado lies liberation, because if you can shape meaning from chaos, you become unstoppable. You become the creator of your own destiny, not its victim. 5. The social contract, Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Rousseau asked a dangerous question: if humans are born free, why do we live like we're chained? His answer: society itself. The social contract is the invisible agreement that trades personal freedom for collective order. Civilization depends on it, but it also corrupts it. Today we still live inside Rousseau's paradox, craving freedom while demanding structure. Every debate about government, law, or rights echoes his insight. True freedom isn't chaos, it's conscious cooperation. The challenge is making sure the systems we build serve us, not the other way around. 6. The categorical imperative, Immanuel Kant. Kant believed morality isn't about outcomes, it's about principles. Do what's right even if it costs you. The categorical imperative says, act only according to rules you want everyone else to follow. It's the blueprint for ethics without religion, morality grounded in reason. In a world where everything feels negotiable, truth, honesty, loyalty, Kant stands like a monument. He asks, would the world be better if everyone acted like you do? If the answer's no, then your reason knows what's right. The hardest part isn't knowing, it's choosing to live by it. 7. The theory of forms, Plato. Plato believed the world we see is just a reflection, a distorted shadow of perfect, eternal forms. Beauty, justice, love, we never see them pure, only their fragments. This idea sounds mystical, but it's deeply practical. It's why humans chase ideals, perfection, truth, meaning, even when we know they're unreachable. Every invention, every piece of art, every moral law is our attempt to bridge the gap between what is and what could be. Plato's forms remind us that progress isn't delusion, it's our nature. We are wired to reach for the ideal, even in an imperfect world. 8. Existentialism. Man is condemned to be free, Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre's idea hits like a punch. You are free, completely, terrifyingly free. There's no cosmic script, no divine plan, no excuses. Every choice defines you. Freedom isn't a gift, it's a burden. Because once you realize nothing has inherent meaning, you have to create it. That's existentialism, the courage to build your own purpose from nothing. In a world that sells prepackaged identities, jobs, labels, lifestyles, Sartre's message is rebellion. Life's meaning isn't found, it's forged. You're the author. The question is, what story will you write? 9. Utilitarianism. John Stuart Mill. What's right isn't always what feels right. For Mill, morality could be measured, the greatest good for the greatest number. That's utilitarianism, ethics as a math problem. It built democracy, shaped human rights, and drives modern policy. But here's the catch. When does logic outweigh empathy? When do the numbers hide the pain of the few? Mill forces us to confront the cold arithmetic behind moral choices, from war to AI ethics. In the end, his idea isn't about comfort, it's about accountability. Every decision ripples outward, and we're responsible for the sum. 10. The Tao, Lao Tzu. In the West, we chase control. In the East, Lao Tzu whispered, "Stop chasing." The Tao is the flow, the natural way of existence. Everything changes, everything returns, and wisdom lies in harmony, not domination. You don't fight the river, you move with it. In a world addicted to noise and control, the Tao is a spiritual antidote. It's not passive, it's aware. When you stop resisting reality, you start understanding it. The Tao isn't something you find, it's something you feel. You don't force the world into shape, you learn its rhythm, and you flow. 11. Determinism, Baruch Spinoza. What if everything you've ever done, every choice, every thought was never truly yours? Determinism says free will is an illusion. Spinoza saw the universe as one vast, interconnected machine, every action caused by something before it. You're not a free agent, you're part of a cosmic domino chain. Scary? Maybe, but there's freedom in acceptance. If everything happens by necessity, then guilt. Fear and regret lose their power. Modern neuroscience echoes Spinoza. Our brains make decisions before we're even conscious of them. Determinism doesn't erase meaning, it redefines it. You can't control the wave, but you can learn to surf it. 12. Absurdism, Albert Camus. Camus believed life is meaningless, but that's not the tragedy. The tragedy is that we keep searching for meaning anyway. That's the absurd. Humans demand purpose from a silent universe. So what do? Camus says we rebel. We live in spite of the absurd, we laugh at it. Like Sisyphus pushing his rock, knowing it will fall again, yet smiling. Absurdism isn't nihilism, it's defiance. It's courage without a promise. Every time you find joy in chaos or purpose in struggle, you're living the absurd hero's life. The rock rolls down, you push again, and you smile. 13. The Ship of Theseus, Identity Paradox. If you replace a ship's parts one by one until none are original, is it still the same ship? This ancient paradox asks, what makes something itself, its parts or its continuity? It's not just a thought experiment, it's you. Every cell in your body changes over time, yet you still call yourself you. So what's the real you? In an era of digital avatars, cosmetic changes, and identity fluidity, the Ship of Theseus is more relevant than ever. Identity isn't static, it's a story in motion. You're not defined by what you were, but by the pattern that persists through change. 14. The Mind-Body Problem, René Descartes. Descartes split existence in two, mind and matter. But how does something immaterial, thought, control the physical? Centuries later, we still don't know. The mind-body problem lies at the heart of neuroscience, psychology, and AI. Are we just biological machines running code? Or is consciousness something beyond? Every meditation, every dream, every aha moment is a glimpse into that mystery. Maybe the mind isn't in the body, maybe the body is in the mind. Descartes opened a door that science still hasn't closed. 15. Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. The Stoics faced chaos like warriors. Their philosophy, control what you can, accept what you can't. From emperors to slaves, they all practiced the same inner freedom, calm in the storm. In an age of anxiety, Stoicism feels almost prophetic. It's not about suppressing emotion, it's about mastering reaction. When everything outside collapses, the Stoic stands firm inside. Every scroll of social media, every crisis, every insult, Stoicism whispers, "You can't control the world, but you can control your mind." That's real strength, unshakable peace in a shaking world. 16. Dualism, mind and matter. Dualism says reality comes in two flavors, physical and spiritual. Descartes saw them as separate: science and soul, body and consciousness. But are they really divided, or just two sides of the same coin? Modern physics and Eastern philosophy blur that line. Energy becomes matter, thought changes biology. Dualism reminds us that maybe reality isn't just atoms or spirit, it's the tension between them. It's the invisible bridge between feeling and form, thought and flesh, dream and data. 17. The paradox of tolerance, Karl Popper. Tolerance sounds noble until it tolerates intolerance. Popper warned that if a society is endlessly tolerant, the intolerant will destroy it. True tolerance requires limits, a defense of openness itself. We see it everywhere today: freedom of speech versus hate speech, liberty versus chaos. Popper's paradox demands maturity. To protect a free society, we must sometimes refuse those who would end it. It's not censorship, it's survival. Tolerance without boundaries eats itself alive. 18. Solipsism, the theory that only you exist. What if you're the only consciousness in existence and everything else is your imagination? That's solipsism, the most unsettling idea ever conceived. It's the philosophical equivalent of a glitch in the matrix. There's no way to disprove it. Every argument against it could be part of the illusion. But maybe solipsism isn't paranoia, maybe it's a mirror. It forces you to ask what's real, what's constructed, and what's projected. Whether or not the world exists out there, the experience of it is undeniably yours, and that's both terrifying and empowering. 19. The trolley problem, Philippa Foot and Judith Jarvis Thomson. A runaway trolley is about to kill 5 people. You can pull a lever and divert it, but it'll kill one person instead. What do you do? The trolley problem exposes the clash between emotion and logic. Its ethics turned into a trap. Sacrifice one to save many, or do nothing and stay innocent. Today, this dilemma runs our self-driving cars, AI ethics, and political policy. The truth is, there are no clean choices, just consequences. The trolley problem isn't about right or wrong. It's about the cost of being human. 20. Nihilism, Friedrich Nietzsche. Nihilism is the void, the belief that life has no meaning, no truth, no purpose. When Nietzsche declared God is dead, he wasn't celebrating, he was warning. Without meaning, humanity risks collapsing into despair or apathy. But nihilism isn't the end, it's the reset. When the old values die, new ones can be born. The abyss stares back, but if you endure it, you become something new. That's Nietzsche's challenge. If nothing matters, then everything is possible. Meaning isn't found, it's made, by those brave enough to face the emptiness. 21. The golden rule, do unto others. Across religions, cultures, and centuries, one moral truth keeps echoing: treat others as you'd want to be treated. It's so simple it feels cliché, yet it's the blueprint of civilization. The golden rule turns empathy into logic. It reminds us that morality doesn't need divine authority, it needs perspective. Every act of kindness, every moment of restraint, every moral revolution, they all trace back to this rule. In a divided world obsessed with sides, it's a timeless mirror. Before you act, imagine the mirror turning back on you. That one pause could change everything. 22. Empiricism, John Locke, David Hume. Forget innate knowledge, empiricists said. We know because we experience. The mind starts as a blank slate, and life writes on it. Every idea, belief, and fear comes from the senses. Today, empiricism powers science, psychology, and technology. But it also humbles us, reminding us how fragile truth can be when filtered through limited perception. Hume went further. Cause and effect might just be habits of the mind. Maybe the world doesn't have order, maybe we just see patterns because we need to. Empiricism is both empowering and unsettling. It proves we learn, but also how easily we can be fooled. 23. Skepticism, Pyrrho and Descartes. Skepticism isn't cynicism, it's discipline. The skeptic doesn't reject truth, they test it. Ancient skeptics like Pyrrho believed certainty was arrogance. Descartes used doubt as a weapon, breaking down everything until only pure reason remained. Today, skepticism is survival. In an age of misinformation, filters, and deepfakes, doubt is wisdom. The skeptic's creed is believe nothing, it's believe carefully. Because truth can't fear questions. If it breaks under scrutiny, it wasn't truth to begin with. 24. Hedonism, Epicurus. Hedonism gets a bad rap. People think it means indulgence. But for Epicurus, it meant peace. True pleasure wasn't wild luxury, it was the absence of pain, the quiet joy of simplicity. Friendship, reflection, moderation, those were his keys to happiness. The irony, modern life pursues pleasure endlessly, yet rarely finds it. Epicurus would laugh, saying we're chasing what was always within reach. Pleasure isn't found in more, it's found in enough. Hedonism isn't excess, it's contentment. 25. The Principle of Sufficient Reason, Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz. Leibniz believed nothing happens without a reason, no event, no existence, no coincidence. Everything must have an explanation, even if we can't see it. It's the engine of science, but also the fuel of faith. Yet it raises a haunting question. If everything happens for a reason, is anything truly random? When you look back at your life, every heartbreak, every success, it's tempting to see a pattern. Maybe that's the mind's way of finding order in chaos. Or maybe Leibniz was right. Maybe the universe doesn't waste motion. 26. Moral relativism, Friedrich Nietzsche and Protagoras. Right and wrong aren't cosmic laws, they're human agreements. Moral relativism says truth bends with culture, time, and perspective. What's sacred in one era is scandalous in another. But relativism isn't moral laziness, it's awareness. It reminds us that values evolve, that empathy demands humility. The danger, without any shared moral compass, everything risks becoming justified. Relativism forces us to balance freedom of thought with the need for collective conscience. It's a tightrope humanity is still walking. 27. The Paradox of Choice, Modern Philosophy, Barry Schwartz. More choices should make us happier, but they don't. The paradox of choice says too much freedom can paralyze us. Every decision becomes a fear of missing out on a better one. Ancient philosophers preached moderation, modern psychology proved it. From Netflix menus to dating apps, abundance breeds anxiety. The lesson? Simplicity isn't limitation, it's liberation. You don't find happiness in infinite options, you find it in commitment to the few that matter. 28. Existential nihilism, Friedrich Nietzsche and Jean-Paul Sartre. Existential nihilism stares into the void and doesn't blink. It says life has no inherent purpose, and that's okay. Meaning isn't discovered, it's invented. It's a radical freedom that terrifies and empowers at once. In a universe that doesn't care, your choices suddenly matter infinitely more. When everything's meaningless, you become the meaning maker. That's the paradox. The emptier life feels, the more potential it holds. Nihilism isn't despair, it's a blank canvas waiting for your story. 29. The Problem of Evil, Epicurus and Augustine. If God is all good and all-powerful, why does evil exist? That's the ancient question that cracked theology in half. The problem of evil challenges not just religion, but comfort itself. Some said evil is the price of free will. Others said it's an illusion. But maybe it's the shadow of good, the contrast that gives meaning. Without suffering, could we recognize compassion? The problem remains unsolved, yet its persistence shapes every human quest for justice, mercy, and faith. The question hurts because it's supposed to. 30. Rationalism, René Descartes, Spinoza, Leibniz. Rationalists believed that truth lives in logic, not in the senses. The universe, they said, is a grand equation waiting to be understood. Through reason, we can grasp the infinite. It's what built mathematics, science, and philosophy itself. But pure logic has limits. It can explain how, but not why. Rationalism gave us the framework of progress, yet it can't fill the soul. The real challenge is merging reason with wonder, thinking deeply without losing awe. Because even in a rational universe, mystery remains the most rational thing of all. 31. Free will, Augustine to modern neuroscience. Are we truly free, or just following scripts written by biology and circumstance? Philosophers have wrestled with this forever. Augustine said free will is proof of divine justice. Determinists said it's a comforting illusion. Neuroscientists now find your brain decides before you know it. So what's left? Maybe free will isn't about control, but awareness. You can't choose your impulses, but you can choose your response. Every moment you pause, reflect, and act with intention, you reclaim your freedom. Free will isn't absolute, it's an act of rebellion against your programming. 32. The Übermensch Overman, Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche's Overman wasn't a tyrant, it was a vision of human potential, someone who creates values instead of inheriting them. The Overman transcends morality, religion, and conformity. He turns life into art. It's not about dominance, it's about self-mastery. In a world ruled by comfort and conformity, Nietzsche's challenge hits harder than ever. Stop living by borrowed beliefs. Destroy your idols, build yourself. The Overman isn't born, he's forged in fire, by those brave enough to redefine what it means to live. 33. Virtue Ethics, Aristotle. Forget rules and results. Aristotle said morality lives in character. Virtue ethics teaches that the good life isn't about avoiding wrong but becoming good. Courage, temperance, honesty, these aren't commands, they're habits. You become what you repeatedly do. In today's algorithmic morality, where everyone's right online, virtue feels revolutionary. It's not about what happens to you but who you become through it. Ethics isn't a checklist, it's craftsmanship of the soul. 34. The Absurd Hero, Albert Camus. Camus, absurd hero, knows life is meaningless, yet he chooses to live fully anyway. Think of Sisyphus, condemned to push his boulder forever, but he smiles, because defiance is victory. The absurd hero doesn't need hope, he finds beauty in the struggle itself. It's the mindset of the artist, the survivor, the dreamer. When you keep going after every fall, laugh in the face of futility, and still choose joy, you are the absurd hero. You don't escape the void, you dance in it. 35. The Problem of Induction, David Hume. Hume asked a question that shattered certainty. How do we know the future will resemble the past? We assume the sun will rise tomorrow because it always has, but that's circular logic. Induction, learning from patterns, works until it doesn't. Every financial crash, scientific revolution, or personal shock proves Hume's point. The universe doesn't owe us consistency. The problem of induction teaches humility. That certainty is a story we tell ourselves so we can sleep at night. 36. Idealism, George Berkeley and Immanuel Kant. Idealism claims reality isn't out there, it's built by the mind. Berkeley said to be is to be perceived. Kant agreed, our senses don't reveal the world, they shape it. Everything you experience passes through your brain's filter of time, space, and causality. So maybe reality is a shared hallucination that just happens to work. In the digital age, idealism feels prophetic. If the mind creates reality, then attention is power, and your focus literally builds your world. 37. Structuralism, Ferdinand de Saussure and Claude Lévi-Strauss. Structuralism says meaning isn't in things, it's in relationships. Words, cultures, and myths all gain meaning by contrast, not content. Good means nothing without bad. Identity needs its opposite. Structuralism turned philosophy into code breaking, showing that human thought runs on hidden patterns. In a world now ruled by algorithms, this insight hits different. We've always lived in systems, we just didn't see the architecture before. Understanding the structure gives you the power to change it. 38. Deontology, Immanuel Kant. For Kant, morality isn't about results, it's about duty. Lying to save a life, still wrong. Because once you justify one exception, the entire moral law collapses. Deontology is uncompromising, cold to some, but pure in intent. It's the philosophy of moral backbone. In a world of whatever works, Kant reminds us that some lines should never be crossed. Integrity isn't convenience, it's consistency, even when it costs you. 39. Pragmatism, William James and John Dewey. Truth, said the pragmatists, isn't what is, it's what works. Ideas aren't sacred, they're tools. If it helps us survive, grow, and connect, it's true enough. Pragmatism liberated philosophy from dogma and brought it into life. Every self-help method, every design sprint, every experiment owes something to it. Pragmatism says, stop chasing perfection, chase utility. Truth evolves as we do. The question is it true, but does it make life better? 40. Panpsychism, the conscious universe. What if consciousness isn't exclusive to humans, but fundamental to reality itself? Panpsychism suggests that everything, atoms, cells, stars, has some spark of awareness. It's a radical blend of physics and mysticism. Maybe matter isn't lifeless, maybe the universe is awake. Neuroscience can't locate consciousness because it's not in the brain, it's everywhere. In a world struggling to reconnect with nature, panpsychism feels like an ancient truth rediscovered. You are not in the universe, you are the universe, conscious of itself. 41. Detachment, Buddhist philosophy. Buddhism teaches that suffering isn't caused by pain, it's caused by attachment. We cling to what changes: love, success, identity, and when they shift, we break. Detachment doesn't mean apathy, it means freedom. It's the art of loving without clinging, caring without control. In a world addicted to validation, detachment feels revolutionary. It's the power to say, I can enjoy this moment without owning it. When you let go, you don't lose, you create space for peace. Detachment is the quiet superpower of those who have learned that nothing lasts, and that's okay. 42. Dialectical materialism, Karl Marx. Marx believed history moves through conflict, the tension between opposites. Every system contains the seeds of its own destruction. Feudalism gave birth to capitalism, capitalism will give birth to something else. That's dialectical materialism, progress through struggle. It's not just politics, it's physics, psychology, life itself. Change isn't linear, it's dialectical. Growth demands contradiction. The question is whether conflict exists, it's what we create from it. Marx didn't just describe history, he described evolution itself, creation born from clash. 43. The Veil of Ignorance, John Rawls. Imagine designing society without knowing who you'll be: rich or poor, man or woman, powerful or powerless. That's Rawls' veil of ignorance. Behind it, justice becomes fair. You'd create laws that protect everyone because you might end up as anyone. It's the moral imagination our world desperately needs. When you strip away privilege and identity, empathy becomes logical. The veil of ignorance isn't utopian, it's practical fairness in disguise. If we could all think like that, equality wouldn't be idealistic, it would be inevitable. 44. The Butterfly Dream, Zhuangzi. Zhuangzi dreamt he was a butterfly, carefree, floating, and when he woke, he asked, was I a man dreaming of being a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming of being a man? The butterfly dream dissolves the line between reality and illusion. Consciousness becomes a dream inside a dream. Today, in a world of simulations and digital avatars, Zhuangzi feels prophetic. Maybe reality isn't fixed, maybe it's fluid, like a lucid dream. The question is, what's real? It's what does it mean to be awake? 45. Empathy, David Hume and modern ethics. Hume said morality begins with feeling, not logic. We act ethically not because of rules, but because we feel others' pain. Empathy is philosophy's beating heart. It's what turns abstract morality into human connection. But empathy's power cuts both ways. It can unite or manipulate. In a digital world where outrage travels faster than compassion, Hume's insight matters more than ever. The ability to feel for others isn't weakness, it's civilization itself. Without empathy, reason collapses into cold calculation. 46. Absurd freedom, Albert Camus. Once you accept that life is meaningless, you gain a strange new freedom, absurd freedom. With no script, no destiny, no cosmic approval, everything becomes possible. Camus said rebellion isn't despair, it's creation. When you stop searching for permission to exist, you begin to live authentically. Absurd freedom is terrifying because it removes excuses. No fate, no plan, only you and the raw power to choose. It's freedom stripped of comfort and therefore real. 47. The Simulation Hypothesis, Nick Bostrom. What if everything, you, this world, your memories, is code? The simulation hypothesis says advanced beings could simulate conscious worlds indistinguishable from reality. Statistically, if it's possible, we're probably inside one. Creepy, maybe. But the idea reawakens an ancient question. What is reality? Plato's cave, Zhuangzi's butterfly, Descartes' dream, they all echo here. Whether we're in code or cosmos, meaning still depends on how we live. If this is a simulation, then every act of kindness, every creation, every rebellion still matters. Maybe that's the point. 48. Phenomenology, Edmund Husserl and Martin Heidegger. Phenomenology says, forget theories, start with experience. The world is out there, it's how it appears to consciousness. Every object, emotion, and event exists only through perception. Heidegger took it further, we're not detached observers but beings in the world. Every meaning is lived, not analyzed. In a time where we're drowning in abstractions, data, metrics, opinions, phenomenology pulls us back to raw presence. Before the label, before the thought, there's being. That's where truth begins. 49. Materialism, Democritus to Karl Marx. Materialism says everything, mind, soul, love, art, reduces to matter. The universe is atoms in motion, nothing more, cold, maybe. But materialism freed philosophy from mysticism and built science. Yet even now we can't explain why matter sometimes feels like thought. Where does consciousness emerge from particles? Materialism wins the body, but loses the ghost. It's a reminder that even in a mechanical universe, the mystery of awareness remains unsolved. 50. The Paradox of Hedonism, Henry Sidgwick. Here's the irony: the more you chase pleasure, the less you find it. The paradox of hedonism says happiness is a byproduct, not a goal. Focus on joy and it slips away. Focus on purpose and joy follows naturally. It's why the happiest people aren't chasing happiness, they're chasing meaning. Modern life tells us to be happy. Philosophy whispers, forget happiness. Do something worth living for and it will find you. 51. The Gaia Hypothesis, James Lovelock. The Earth isn't just a planet, it's a living system. Lovelock's Gaia hypothesis imagines the biosphere as one self-regulating organism. Oceans, air, soil, and life are intertwined, constantly adjusting to keep the planet habitable. It's a radical shift in perspective. Humans aren't masters of nature, we're components of it. Every action, from pollution to conservation, ripples across this vast network. Gaia isn't metaphor, it's a call for humility. To live responsibly isn't just ethics, it's survival. The planet breathes, and we breathe with it. 52. Existential Angst, Soren Kierkegaard. Kierkegaard described the vertigo of existence, the dizzying realization that you're alone, free, and ultimately responsible for your life. Angst isn't fear of danger, it's fear of freedom. In modern terms, it's the panic of endless possibilities, the weight of choice, the confrontation with nothingness. But angst is a spark, not a curse. It awakens authenticity. The realization that life is yours to shape, terrifying as it is also exhilarating. Angst is the gateway to courage. 53. Transcendental Idealism, Immanuel Kant. Kant said the world we perceive isn't reality itself. It's filtered through our mind's categories. Space, time, cause, these aren't in the universe, they're in us. Reality in itself is unknowable. This shifts philosophy from objective to experiential. We don't just see the world, we structure it. Every belief, every perception, every decision is shaped by this lens. Kant's idealism reminds us that understanding begins with examining the eye that observes, not just the world observed. 54. The Myth of Sisyphus, Albert Camus. Sisyphus rolls his boulder up the hill only for it to fall each time. Camus asks, is this despair or triumph? Life may be repetitive, meaningless, even cruel, but Sisyphus finds power in defiance. The struggle itself becomes purpose. In a world of daily monotony and existential dread, Camus gives hope. Meaning isn't found, it's forged. Your boulder may be heavy, unending, but how you push it is everything. Embrace it, smile, lift it again. 55. Relational Ontology, Martin Buber and Alfred North Whitehead. You are not a solitary being, says relational ontology. Existence is fundamentally about relationships, not objects or isolated individuals. Our connections, networks, and interactions shape reality. You are who you relate to, and your choices ripple outward. This isn't abstract, it's everywhere: friendship, society, ecosystems. Reality isn't just things, it's interactions. To understand the world, understand the web, your place, your role, your impact. Life is conversation, and existence is dialogue. 56. Chaos Theory, Henry Poincaré and Edward Lawrence. Small causes, massive effects. That's the heart of chaos theory. A butterfly flaps its wings, hurricanes emerge continents away. The universe is deterministic yet unpredictable. Life mirrors this. One choice, one word, one action can cascade into unexpected outcomes. Chaos isn't random, it's sensitive, intricate, alive. Understanding it teaches humility. We are participants in a web far larger than comprehension. Mastery isn't control, it's awareness of patterns in the storm. 57. The Principle of Charity, Philosophical Method. When debating, always interpret arguments in their strongest form. That's the principle of charity. It's counterintuitive. Instead of tearing others down, you build bridges in understanding. In modern discourse where outrage dominates, this principle is revolutionary. Misinterpretation fuels conflict. Charity fosters insight. You don't just win debates, you expand minds, yours included. Philosophy isn't about defeating others, It's about climbing together toward clarity. 58. The Enlightenment, reason, science, and individual freedom. The Enlightenment unleashed human potential. Reason over superstition, science over dogma, freedom over tyranny. Kant's motto, dare to know. It birthed modern democracy, human rights, and scientific progress. But enlightenment is more than history, it's a mindset. Question authority, test assumptions, trust your reasoning. Every technological leap, societal reform, or moral awakening owes a debt to those who dared to think. Light the candle of reason, and shadows flee. 59. Fatalism, the inevitability of outcomes. Some events are unavoidable, no matter what you do. Fatalism says the future may be fixed, and resistance is illusion, but philosophy twists it. Even if outcomes are set, your experience is. You can act with courage, grace, or defiance. Life may be inevitable, but your response is. Fatalism isn't resignation, it's liberation. The chains are there, but how you wear them is your choice. 60. The Hermetic principle of correspondence, as above, so below. Hermeticism sees the universe as a reflection at every scale. Patterns repeat, microcosm mirrors macrocosm. Stars, atoms, minds, all connected. As above, so below. It's a philosophy of harmony, analogy, and hidden unity. Modern physics and systems theory echo the same truth. Small structures echo large ones, and vice versa. Understanding correspondence lets you see patterns, predict outcomes, and grasp the elegant symmetry of existence. The universe whispers, listen carefully. 61. The Panopticon, Jeremy Bentham and Mitchell Foucault. Imagine living in a prison where someone could be watching you at all times, even if you never know when. That's the Panopticon. Bentham designed it for efficiency. Foucault saw it as a metaphor for modern society. Surveillance shapes behavior even without enforcement. Today, cameras, social media, and algorithms monitor everything we do. The Panopticon isn't just architecture, it's a lesson. Power works best when invisible, when internalized. Freedom becomes mental, not just physical. Awareness alone can govern behavior, a chilling, brilliant insight into human society. 62. Moral luck, Thomas Nagel. Sometimes morality isn't about intention, it's about outcomes. Moral luck says you can be praised or blamed for things beyond your control. Two drivers, one crashes, one avoids disaster, same choices, different luck, opposite moral judgments. Life is full of these invisible variables. We aren't omniscient judges of ourselves or others. Nagel forces humility. Ethical life isn't perfect. It's navigating uncertainty, doing your best while knowing the world's randomness will judge you differently. Responsibility and fortune are tangled, and life's moral ledger is never fair. 63. The Principle of Utility, Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. The greatest good for the greatest number, simple in theory, complicated in life. Every ethical decision has ripple effects. Do you save one, sacrifice many? Mill expanded it. Quality matters, not just quantity. Utilitarianism dominates politics, AI ethics, even daily choices. It's a constant tension between compassion and calculus, yet it's empowering because it asks us to weigh consequences consciously, to live morally with awareness. Happiness isn't abstract, it's measurable, actionable, collective. 64. Ethical egoism, Max Stirner and Ayn Rand. Self-interest as a moral compass. Ethical egoism challenges altruism. Acting for others isn't always moral, acting for yourself can be. Radical, yes, but it's a lens for personal responsibility. If you thrive, you can contribute more. The philosophy is controversial, but it forces reflection. Why do we do what we do? When morality aligns with self-interest, ethics isn't sacrifice, it's survival and growth. Egoism isn't greed, it's clarity about priorities. 65. The Tragedy of the Commons, Garrett Hardin. Shared resources are doomed when individuals act selfishly. Pastures, oceans, even digital platforms collapse under collective neglect. Hardin's principle isn't pessimism, it's a warning. Without cooperation, abundance turns into scarcity. Climate change, overfishing, pollution, all modern echoes. The tragedy is not inevitability, it's ignorance. Awareness, rules, shared responsibility, that's the solution. Life demands balance between self and society, freedom and restraint. Commons are mirrors of human behavior. 66. The Analytic-Synthetic Distinction, Immanuel Kant. Kant drew a line between truths that are true by definition and truths that depend on experience. All bachelors are unmarried versus the sky is blue. Simple, yes, but revolutionary. It underpins logic, language, and epistemology. Philosophy often debates, what can we know and how do we know it? This distinction lays the foundation. It teaches caution, not all truths are equal. Some exist in words, others exist in reality. Understanding the difference is the first step toward clarity. 67. The veil of Maya, Hindu philosophy. Maya is illusion. The world you perceive isn't ultimate reality, it's a mask. Desire, ego, attachment all distort truth. Awareness lifts the veil. Suddenly, the chaos of life becomes patterns, lessons, opportunities. Modern mindfulness, meditation, even virtual reality echo this ancient insight. Reality isn't fixed. Perception shapes experience. Maya reminds us, the world isn't what it seems, but that doesn't make it less real. It makes it ours to navigate consciously. 68. The categorical mistake, Gilbert Ryle. Ryle attacked the ghost in the machine, the belief that mind and body are separate. He called this a categorical mistake, treating something as the wrong kind of thing. Minds aren't objects, they're capacities, activities, patterns. Understanding avoids conceptual traps. In daily life, philosophy isn't abstract, it's preventing confusion, clarifying thought. The categorical mistake teaches precision in thinking. Don't misclassify reality, or you'll stumble over illusion. 69. Pragmatic ethics, William James. Ethics isn't fixed, it's practical. Pragmatic ethics asks, what works? What promotes flourishing, growth, or survival? James emphasized action over theory. Moral principles aren't sacred tablets, they're guides tested in experience. Modern ethics, business, and policy thrive on pragmatism. The lesson, morality isn't perfection, it's effectiveness. Measure, adjust, act. Philosophy becomes a toolkit, not a dogma. 70. The infinite regress problem, philosophy of knowledge. Every justification seems to require another justification, and then another. Thought spirals backward infinitely. How do you know what you know? When does reasoning stop? Infinite regress challenges certainty, demanding humility. No belief is immune. Science, law, even daily decisions face it. The problem isn't paralysis, it's awareness. Knowing that every claim rests on layers of assumption invites caution, curiosity, and deeper inquiry. Philosophy becomes not about answers, but about navigating the endless chain of questions. 71. The principle of falsifiability, Karl Popper. Popper changed science forever. A theory isn't scientific unless it can be proven wrong. Hypotheses must risk being false or they're meaningless. This isn't just science, it's critical thinking. Every claim, belief, or idea must face the fire of scrutiny. In politics, AI, and media, falsifiability teaches humility. Don't cling to dogma, test it. Truth isn't sacred, it's provisional. Popper reminds us that the strength of an idea lies in its vulnerability. 72. Social Darwinism, Herbert Spencer. Survival of the fittest, applied to society, a dangerous twist on biology. Spencer argued that inequality was natural, inevitable, even desirable. Today, we see the consequences in policy, economics, and ideology. Social Darwinism isn't morality, it's cautionary history. Nature doesn't reward justice, humans do. Understanding this idea helps us question inequality, challenge assumptions, and design societies where fairness, not cruelty, prevails. Evolution may be blind, but ethics is. 73. The absurd condition, Albert Camus. Life is a riddle with no solution. We search for meaning, the universe offers none, that's the absurd. Camus doesn't despair, he celebrates. The absurd condition is not a trap, it's a canvas. It challenges us to live fully, create purpose, and embrace freedom without guarantees. In the digital age, with endless noise and comparison, recognizing the absurd is liberating. You don't need cosmic permission, just courage. 74. Ethical relativism, Protagoras and modern thought. Morality depends on culture, context, and perspective. What's right here may be wrong there. Ethical relativism isn't weakness, it's awareness of human diversity, but it demands vigilance. Without shared principles, chaos emerges. Relativism forces empathy, tolerance, and reflection. It's the philosophy of perspective, a reminder that morality isn't universal, yet it is necessary. Balance is everything. 75. The golden ratio, mathematics and aesthetics. The ratio 1.618 appears everywhere: shells, galaxies, paintings, architecture. The golden ratio bridges math and beauty, revealing patterns in nature and human perception. Its aesthetic law hidden in plain sight. Art, design, and even digital algorithms echo this principle. The universe isn't random, it's patterned. Recognizing the golden ratio isn't just about numbers, it's about seeing harmony in chaos. 76. The Extended Mind, Andy Clark and David Chalmers. Your mind doesn't stop at your skull. Smartphones, notebooks, computers, all extensions of thought. The extended mind redefines consciousness and cognition. Knowledge, memory, problem-solving, these can exist outside the biological brain. In a world dominated by technology, Clark and Chalmers were prophetic. Minds are networks. Thinking is collaboration, not just internal. Who and what you connect to shapes your very mind. 77. The Tragedy of Determinism, Philosophical Paradox. If all events are caused, what role does choice play? Determinism promises order but threatens agency. Life may be a chain reaction, and yet we experience freedom. The tragedy isn't inevitability, it's the tension between knowing and acting. Philosophy becomes a dance between control and chaos. Determinism humbles. It reminds us that free will, if it exists, is precious and precarious. 78. The Mirror Stage, Jacques Lacan. Lacan's theory of identity begins with a reflection. A child sees itself in a mirror, and suddenly I exists. Selfhood emerges from misrecognition. We are shaped by images, perceptions, and symbols. In social media, selfies, and digital identities, the mirror stage is more relevant than ever. Identity is constructed, fragile, performative. Who we are is a reflection, and philosophy teaches us to look beyond it. 79. Eternal Recurrence, Friedrich Nietzsche. What if every moment repeats infinitely? Nietzsche's eternal recurrence forces a radical question. Would you live your life the same way if it repeated forever? It's a test of authenticity. If yes, you're aligned with your values. If no, change is imperative. Life isn't rehearsal, it's infinite performance. Every choice gains weight. Eternal recurrence transforms ordinary existence into eternal accountability, philosophy as ultimate challenge. 80. Collective Consciousness, Emile Durkheim and Jung. Societies think, feel, and act as one. Collective consciousness exists in shared beliefs, myths, and culture. Jung called it the archetypal mind. It shapes morality, art, politics, and identity. We are individuals, but also parts of something larger. Every meme, story, ritual, or movement is evidence. Philosophy isn't just personal reflection, it's understanding the invisible mind that guides entire communities. The self is never alone. 81. The Principle of Charity, Applied Thought. Earlier we explored it as a method, but applied, it becomes a life hack. Always interpret arguments in their strongest, most coherent form. Misunderstand less, empathize more, and debate smarter. In a world of hot takes and viral outrage, it's revolutionary. Charity doesn't weaken you, it sharpens your intellect and cultivates connection. Understanding before judgment, that's the true power of philosophy in action. 82. The Law of Identity, Classical Logic. It is simple, fundamental, but deceptively deep. Everything, thought, or concept must be itself and not something else. Logic, mathematics, language all rest on identity. Without it, reasoning collapses. In chaos, confusion, and misinformation, remembering this principle is grounding. Before debating, coding, or reflecting, know what you're talking about. Identity is the bedrock of thought. 83. Moral Particularism, Jonathan Dancy. Not all moral rules are universal. Particularism says context dominates principle. Ethics isn't a checklist, it's situational. Every action's moral weight depends on circumstance. Life is messy, full of nuance, impossible to reduce to rigid formulas. Particularism sharpens moral intuition. Look, listen, consider, then act. Philosophy becomes practical, morality is responsive, not mechanical. 84. The Tragedy of the Commons Revisited, Modern Application. We saw the principle, but today the commons are digital, global, and intangible. Open source code, shared knowledge, climate action, collective resources are everywhere. The lesson is the same: cooperation is survival. Exploitation destroys what sustains us. Philosophy remains urgent. Individual action shapes shared fate. Every click, choice, and contribution counts. 85. Neurophilosophy, Patricia Churchland and Mind Science. Neurons fire, circuits connect, consciousness emerges. Neurophilosophy merges brain science with philosophy, asking how physical matter produces thought, emotion, and identity. Ethics, free will, and personal responsibility are suddenly biological questions. Understanding the brain isn't just science, it's philosophy. What does it mean to choose, to feel, to be? Neurophilosophy makes the mind's mysteries tangible, yet infinitely deeper. 86. Structural functionalism, Emile Durkheim. Societies are systems, like organisms. Each part, family, education, government, has a role. Stability emerges from structure. Dysfunction causes change, adaptation, or collapse. Modern sociology owes this framework to Durkheim. Philosophy here isn't abstract. It's a lens to read society, predict patterns, and design better systems. Everything is connected, interdependent, and alive. 87. Phenomenal conservatism, philosophy of knowledge. If it seems evident, you're justified in believing it until proven otherwise. Phenomenal conservatism values intuition and experience as sources of knowledge. It's pragmatic. Don't discard what feels true without reason. Everyday life depends on this principle, from trusting senses to trusting instincts. Philosophy here is survival. Belief isn't blind. It's provisional, rational, and navigated carefully. 88. Existential authenticity, Jean-Paul Sartre. Sartre warned, don't live in bad faith, conforming to societal roles or expectations. Authenticity is radical freedom, creating your essence through choice. Fear, anxiety, absurdity, these are companions on the path. To live authentically is to own every decision, every mistake, every triumph. In a world of influences, norms, and scripts, existential authenticity is rebellion, art, and liberation all at once. 89. The no-self doctrine, Anatta Buddhism. The self you cling to, body, mind, identity, is illusion. Buddhism teaches anatta. There's no permanent, independent I. Liberation comes from realizing this. The self is a process, not a thing. Ego, desire, and fear dissolve with understanding. In modern psychology and neuroscience, the no-self doctrine resonates. Identity is fluid, relational, and impermanent. Freedom begins when you stop defending a mirage. 90. The Ship of Theseus Revisited, Identity over Time. Remember the classic paradox? Let's make it personal. Every cell in your body is replaced over years, yet you remain you. Identity isn't static. It's continuity, memory, and pattern. In relationships, technology, and AI, this becomes profound. What defines a person, an object, a system? Is it matter, structure, or story? The Ship of Theseus reminds us that change is constant, yet essence can persist. 91. The Veil of Ignorance Revisited, Justice Through Perspective. Rawls's idea comes full circle. Fairness emerges when we don't know our place in society. Revisited, it reminds us that true empathy requires stripping away bias, privilege, and identity. Policies, social systems, and even personal choices gain moral clarity when imagined from this perspective. The veil isn't theoretical, it's a tool for justice, humility, and understanding. Humanity's progress hinges on seeing the world as anyone could experience it. 92. Panopticism in Modern Life, Foucault Updated. Foucault's panopticon isn't just prisons anymore, it's smartphones, social media, and AI surveillance. We internalize monitoring, shaping behavior without coercion. Power works invisibly, subtly, psychologically. Self-censorship becomes routine. Panopticism teaches vigilance. Freedom isn't just legal, it's mental. Philosophy warns us to question invisible influences and reclaim agency over our thoughts, actions, and digital presence. 93. The Ethics of Care, Carol Gilligan, and Feminist Philosophy. Morality isn't abstract, it's relational. Ethics of Care emphasizes empathy, context, and responsibility for others. Relationships matter, connection matters. Unlike rigid rules or utility calculations, care ethics values compassion and nuance. In personal life, medicine, and governance, this principle guides decisions where logic alone fails. Caring isn't weakness, it's philosophy in action. 94. The Trolley Problem Revisited, Moral Dilemmas in Action. Push the lever or save yourself. This classic dilemma forces us to weigh action, consequence, and responsibility. Revisited today in AI ethics, autonomous vehicles, and crisis decisions, it's not hypothetical. Philosophy asks, what matters most, intention or outcome, reason or emotion? Every ethical choice becomes a miniature trolley problem. The lesson: morality is lived, tested, and experienced, not just theorized. 95. Dialectics, Hegel, Marx, and the flow of history. Every idea meets opposition, producing synthesis. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis, a pattern underlying history, thought, and conflict. Change emerges from tension, not stasis. Dialectics is both a lens and a method. Society evolves, knowledge progresses, identity transforms. Embrace contradiction, it drives growth. Philosophy isn't static, it's the story of conflict resolving into new understanding. 96. The absurd hero revisited, Camus's triumph. Sisyphus smiles. Camus reminds us that courage is rebellion against meaninglessness. Life is repetitive, uncertain, and unfair, yet embracing it fully is victory. The absurd hero teaches resilience, defiance, and joy in struggle. Even when nothing matters, our choices echo infinitely. The heroism of existence isn't in outcomes, it's in participation, in conscious resistance to the void. 97. Moral luck revisited, ethics beyond control. Life judges us not only for what we intend, but for what happens. Moral luck revisited highlights the fragility of ethical evaluation. Two people act alike. Fate rewards one and punishes the other. Philosophy demands humility and empathy. Don't condemn too quickly. The insight reshapes law, judgment, and personal reflection. Moral worth is intertwined with fortune. Life is never purely meritocratic. 98. Virtue revisited, Aristotle in the modern world. Excellence isn't rules, it's habits. Virtue is cultivated, courage, honesty, wisdom, temperance. Revisited, Aristotle's ethics illuminate modern challenges: social media, political polarization, personal ambition. Character is built through repeated practice, not slogans. Philosophy becomes personal development. Ethics is craftsmanship of life itself. Goodness is cultivated, one action at a time. 99. The extended mind revisited, beyond the skull. Technology, networks, and tools reshape cognition. Smartphones, AI, collaborative systems, they become extensions of thought. Revisited, the principle warns, mind isn't confined. Intelligence is distributed. Decisions, creativity, and memory transcend biology. Philosophy here becomes practical: adapt, integrate, expand. Consciousness isn't bounded, it's connected. We think together, and the network is part of who we are. 100. The universe as consciousness, panpsychism and mysticism united. The final idea, maybe awareness, is woven into reality itself. Panpsychism suggests that matter possesses proto-consciousness. Stars, atoms, ecosystems all perceive in ways we cannot fathom. The universe isn't inert, it's alive, aware, unfolding. Philosophy converges with science and mysticism. Existence itself is an ongoing experience. Consciousness is not confined, it permeates everything. To understand the universe is to recognize it as aware, interconnected, and profoundly alive. If this made you rethink your choices, hit like and subscribe to stay aware. Don't let algorithms control you. Join us in exploring truth, freedom, and the power of your mind.